Yo, it's Tony D. I picked up this particular book, Doll Parts, just on a whim. I like the cover, the contrast with the skeletons and the teddy bears. And some of the teddy bears, they're tore up. It looks like one's crying. I wasn't really sure what it was about. When I started reading it, it seemed like a coming of age story of a teenager. I didn't know the creator, the artist, and the writer, Luana Vecchio. I didn't realize this is a prequel to a book she created in 2022 called Lovesick. When I read this, I had no idea. This just seemed like a coming of age story with some tragedy and some inner thoughts of growing up of this character. It seemed like just a girl story, but that went away quickly when I started seeing the things that this focuses on. So it starts off in a ballet class, and there's our main character. And there's a huge emphasis on being thin and losing weight. And these girls, they're all talking about losing weight and the benefits of being thinner and skinnier. And our main character, Madeline, she doesn't like this, but it's interesting as you read the story, she talks about not eating as well, but it's for different reasons. If I don't eat, I'll never become like these people. That was really what started hooking me. That's interesting. So the theme of not eating and growing up to be like these people, it's really a difficult situation to be in. And she cannot stand these other girls. So as the story goes on, she starts talking about her mom. The writing is really spot on with this type of atmosphere and story. One day, she remembers one time holding her mom's hand and it was cold like a dead person. That's impactful. So it kept hooking me. I kept reading. And her mom is really spiteful. She talks bad about this character because of the way she dresses and presents herself. And Madeline, our main character, she just doesn't like that. It's just so negative. She doesn't want to be a part of this negativity. Here's the theme of not eating. If I don't eat, I won't grow up. So she's stuck in this sickness. It's really sick to be that way. So if she doesn't grow up, her mom won't be nasty to her like she is with other people. And this is her journal that we're reading. It's like her inner thoughts on paper. She makes drawings, and as you can see, she's totally not digging. She doesn't want to turn into a demon. When she compares her mom to being a demon with the way she talks about other people. She has conversations with her friend. Her friend anchors her a little bit. She's back to this right here in the theme of not eating. They're talking about dieting again, and she's like, I gotta resist being like these people. This is where things really start taking a turn. She's walking home, and there's some panels in here that they're adult oriented, and I'm not going to show them, but they're not done as shock value. They're really minor if you're reading this book. It's really reality based type things, just to let you know that this world that this character is in, it's not perfect at all. It has darkness in it, and not too far from reality, these things that are happening. The creator did a good job with that. So this guy tries picking her up, and she gets away from him. She knows that it's a very dark thing for that to happen, and then she feels like it's her fault. She thinks her mom would blame it on her, that person did that. So there's more of that dialogue with the parents. she's making a decision now that she needs to be strong on her own. Like with all this stuff going on, she's starting to grow up now. She's starting to have thoughts that if I'm going to make it in this world, I have to be strong. This is the turn right here. She sees something wrapped in cloth. She has a weird feeling about it, but she gets away from it because that's how she's been taught. Don't get involved and you won't have to deal with anything. And then she's back with her sick class. This lump of clothing turns out to be a murder, and it's a brutal murder. It really pulled a memory out of my junior high days where there was actually a murder in my hometown that was similar to this. And I remember being young. It was unbelievable that something that bad could happen to someone at that part of their life. And it literally brought that memory out of me. Comics are powerful. When a comic makes you think about things, that's just the power of it. It's not all about superheroes saving the day. Sometimes it mirrors reality. And this book was really doing it for me. So she gets a ride with the lady her mom hates. And the townspeople, they want to know what's going on with this murder. She's really worried. She's starting to question being like her friend's mom because she doesn't want to attract the eyes of the bad men, the monsters. And she's talking about just being quiet and well behaved like her mom wants her to be, but she doesn't like that. She mentions that being the way her mom wants her to be is like being a dead person, quiet, doing nothing. She doesn't want to go to ballet anymore. She's tired of that action. She even talks about not eating to disappear. The theme of not eating it's strong. But I could see someone going through that. Totally. So now the funeral of the girl, and she starts thinking about the guy that pulled over and talked to her. Like, what if she accepted a ride from him? She would be like this dead girl. So now she's starting to figure out you have to be strong to get through this life. And her friends they're talking about it, and she's inserting herself into the situation of the victim. And she keeps talking about vanishing by losing weight. That is, like I said again, that's a huge theme in this. I mean, it pulls you in with just grimness. Her friends totally find the footage of the victim and they're all looking at it, and she keeps reflecting back to it and inserting herself as the victim. She doesn't want to die now. She wants to grow up. She cares about herself. This whole turning point here is very powerful. She doesn't want to be a dead person. I remember this site too years ago. This is an actual site. That's the actual picture that was on the site. But you could pull up anything on there, just brutal, just raw. And that's a good point in this book. These characters have total access to this stuff. So they're looking at it. And she wants to keep looking at it to strengthen her resolve to make it. To not be a victim. She's learning to not be a victim. You have to get tough. It's like her life only matters to her. She needs to grow up, and this is she's projecting herself as a victim. She needs to learn how to survive on her own so that she went from wanting to disappear, wanting to not be like others by hurting herself, to empowering herself to where she can grow up. She wants to be her own hero, and she starts writing to herself in the future that become a hero. And this was a good read. So like I said, I had the benefit of reading this without knowledge of the original series, 2022 Lovesick. So I'm going to keep reading this. This was a really good read. Not for everybody, I get it, but it stirs the emotions, and you could just say it's a coming of age story. But my advice, you got to get